Guys, I am so happy with the amount of support that the Jrod Pod is getting, with the amount of positive feedback that the Jrod Pod is getting, and it's all because of you guys. So, keep it up, okay? And I'll keep my part up. And then one day, you just shoot me that email at thejrodpod.com, or sorry, thejrodpod at gmail.com, and you just tell me, hey, I'm looking to intern. I'm looking to assist you. Um, whatever you need. And you know what, man? Or woman? Awesome. Because I want you to. I want you to be my assistant. I want you to be my intern. And together, we will build Jrod Pod Productions into an empire. Okay, guys? So let's get started. Huh? So I've been trying to think of new little segments for this podcast because as great as it is to hear me ramble, which is what I'm going to do either way, I think it's good to have a format so you guys know what to expect, because, it's a wild card every time. It's still going to be a bit of a wild card, but let's have a little more structure, huh? Huh, Johnny? All right, here we go. So today, being Tuesday, we're going to do a little Tuesday tips and tales. Now, you guys, I know what you're wondering. Hey, what is tits and tails? No. Tips and tails. Like the tip of a wiener, or let's chase some tail. That thing. Okay. So yeah, man. One of the biggest things throughout my life that I know I have struggled with would definitely be like speaking up, like raising the volume when you talk. Because when I was a freshman in high school, I was prescribed Adderall. Now, Adderall's not all bad or anything, but for some people, especially if you're taking too much, if you're overdoing it, it will literally make you into a different person, a crackhead, essentially. And, so when I would take it, I would take too much to the point where I'd be overthinking, me speaking, like how loud I should be talking, how quiet. And I used to always have headphones in my ears for some reason. I don't know why. I guess I just liked music, because this was before I even started listening to audiobooks or podcasts. And, I just, walking through the halls all quiet, my headphones in. And then if I see a friend that was also on Adderall, it'd be like, and we just keep walking. Very sad routine. And anyways, so, I remember being in this guy, the Spanish teacher named Mr. Long. Now, Mr. Long, he was a very strange man. He was a very slim, he was a white, slim looking fellow. And I know that he, is very good at Spanish or whatever. He, moved to Mexico or some place like that to, become very integrated within the culture and language. Now, this guy, you could definitely tell that he had anger issues in the sense that, people in high school, especially younger kids, they get distracted. They're in class with their friends. What do you fucking do, right? It happens. But this guy, everything would be going good, it's like he would be super amped up. He'd be like, "Buenos dias, chicos y chicas," and then for the first 3 minutes, and then as soon as someone was maybe whispering to someone, and maybe it was distracting to him, but he could have said it differently. He would always just turn to them, and he would have this creepy smile that you knew he was mad when he was smiling this hard, just straight cheesing, dude. And he'd be like, "Now, are you gonna be quiet?" And or something like that, but more aggressive. I don't even remember exactly. I just remember being super aggressive. And one day I raised my hand, and I'm just joking around, I'm a Latino male from, the greater Metro Detroit area. I'm not there were not a lot of Hispanic people where I grew up, and which is in like Novi, Northville area. And I go, yeah, one of my relatives, he he would always say, you know, he would always incorporate the word essay, like, hey, cabron, hey, essay, man, hey, essay, you gonna come with that shit? You know, essay is and then he responds by saying, no, they didn't. And I'm like, well, yeah, they did. That's why I just asked you. And he's like, no, they did not say that. That's something that, you know, unless he's from, this is what he said, unless he's from Southside LA, he didn't say that. And I'm like, well, actually he did, but okay, whatever. And he's like, man, he didn't. And that literally went on for about a minute. And I'm just thinking, what the fuck is this guy's deal? Like, just answer the question. I wasn't asking you to fact check me. Maybe I was just asking that question to make the class more interesting because I was tired of you berating everyone in your class because, they are kids and just want to, whisper a little. As long as they're not passing notes, getting suspended, asking girls if they have ever sucked a dick, then I think you're fine. Okay? Yeah, dude. And he became this way, I guess, because we had a school lockdown. I think maybe a year or two before I had become a high schooler, so I was in like 7th or 8th grade, and we had a lockdown, and the SWAT team or whoever comes in there, you have to leave these little red or green cards outside your door, okay, to show that like everyone's in there, we're safe. Door's locked, but we're safe. And he forgot. Dumbass forgot. Classic. He forgets. All of a sudden, boom, boom, someone busts in through the door, fucking guns pointed, guns ablazing, pointed it straight at Mr. Long, tossed him on the ground, fucking has the gun over him, and Mr. Long, he was traumatized, to put it the least, and ever since that day, he became basically like the villain, Two-Face from Batman, Harvey Dent. And so, remember to put your cards out, teachers. And even if you do get thrown onto the ground by a SWAT team and just completely emasculated, right? Emasculated in front of your entire class, you just got to keep pushing on. You just got to keep chipping away. Eventually, you'll be back to normal. Or you can just go the opposite route and just, freak out at kids every time they talk or whisper while no one gives a shit about your shitty lesson. But yeah, man, there's a lot of things in life, a lot of issues that can be solved by simply speaking up for yourself. When you hear something and you want to say you're in a meeting and you hear something, or you're with a group of friends, right? It's a big group of friends, and you don't know those friends. You don't know some of the people as well as, the friend that invited you there, or, all of your friends, and you're just visiting and you just don't know some of these people. When you're there, definitely speak up when you feel like speaking, okay? Because otherwise, people, like, maybe you're, a little afraid of speaking up because you don't know some of the people and you don't want to be judged because you already know that your friends, the ones that you do know, would easily jump on to a chance to, make you feel weird because it's funny. So don't be afraid to speak up when you're with other people. Do not mumble because then they'll have to say the word, what? I'm sorry, what? And if there's people around, that's just like, it's like, gosh, like, relax for sure. And then also, don't mumble because it makes you look like you're not trustworthy. It makes you seem like you're not sure of what you're saying. And also, if you do it enough, it can become hard to switch the pitch of your speaking volume. Because for a long time throughout high school, with this whole Adderall thing, I would talk so quietly, and people would always say, "What? Like, sorry, I can't hear you. You're talking super quiet," and I wouldn't even notice because I'd have my headphones in, listening to music. So I think I'd be talking fine. I just didn't want to, like, I would be thinking, I don't want to be too loud right now. And so yeah, dude, just make sure that you're speaking up for yourself. You're talking at the appropriate volume and you're not mumbling. Okay? And you will be fine, my friend. You will be fine. Yeah, so, let's get into some tales, huh? You know, like I said, Adderall makes you talk very quietly. And, you're overthinking the volume that you speak at. So, that can leave multiple impressions. It can leave the impression that, hey, you know, I'm too cool. I don't give a fuck if you hear me or not. Either you hear me or you don't. And that makes you look like a douchebag or an idiot. And then there's also, if you're talking too loud, then it's like, damn, this guy is fucking overcompensating for something, right? Maybe a little wiener, maybe falling out hair, maybe uh, genital warts, a lot of things. So, one day I'm with my buddy and it's late. We snuck out of the house, classic. And we're walking to this girl's house. She has a big old house and some big old biddies. No, I'm kidding. She didn't have huge biddies or anything. But so we get to her house, or no, we're walking and, we still got about a mile and a half left. And yeah, a mile and a half. And it's nighttime. So when you're in high school, what many people know, if you've ever snuck out, and if you haven't, then you're not living. You're not living, brother or sister. You're just not. All right. So sneak out, get in trouble, do your thing. Luckily, I didn't get in trouble. But me and my buddy, we're walking all the way over there, and we're already a little drunk going into this. A little pregame, real quick at my house, and then we sneak out. And the way we snuck out, it was so fucked because it was like I was so desperate to like sneak out and just like have like a fun crazy night or something that I so in my basement there is these little windows that are, if you're looking from the outside, the window is basically on the ground. And that's the basement window that you can like look out of, kind of. And it's not like a huge window or anything. It's pretty small, and there is a screen on the outside, I believe, and then glass on the inside. So breaking out from the inside, I had to the only way I was able to do this was because the glass window wouldn't open. So I had to figure out something. So the only thing I could think of was just to bash the fucking glass out of there. So I bust through the glass, right? I bust through the glass. And then I take a knife and I cut through the screen. And then we just slide on out. But we had to put like a few towels down outside to avoid getting cut by the glass, right? So we sneak out and we're walking. There's these, on this road that we're on, there's like a huge thing of woods, right? And then on the other side, there's like some woods, but there's this, pretty nice house, which actually happens to belong to the minister of Oak Point Church. Oak Point Church is a ginormous church, and apparently the reason they're able to afford that house is because the minister's wife is her father is very wealthy, and I don't know if I buy it because all of a sudden this church just getting ginormous, has 3 floors, an elevator, a nice fountain. It's just an unreal. It's like a glad dude. This thing was the you know what would you even call it? The penthouse of churches. It was top tier, and it still is. But something fishy is going on there for sure. And so, anyways, I'm walking on the side, not on the side of the house, but on the side with the woods. And all of a sudden, we see a car like coming. And you can't be caught by a cop outside past, a certain curfew when you're younger. And so, what do? It's like this. This is the path. Here's the street. So, path, street, woods, and this is the sidewalk. And then there's like a little dip right there. But I didn't even see that. So, car is coming down. I go, oh shit. Jump down, literally land on I don't know if it was a vine or like a branch that had just broken, but it caught me right at the right where the waist, like but that bone there. And oh my gosh, I was just hanging there. I'm just hanging, and I'm like, oh, I feel fucked. And my buddy, he's just fucking dying laughing. I'm like, dude, help me, help me. And I was lucky though, because an inch further, and there was this huge wooden, like, what do you call it, stump. It wasn't super round, but it was like, about this wide, and then it got narrow. And if I would have fallen on that, it would have stabbed right through me and out the back. So I was very lucky in that sense, but also very unlucky. Anyways, that whole thing happens. So then we finally, walk, and we just keep having to dip into, little side areas to hide from cars coming. Finally get into the neighborhood, get there, and then, okay, so we're there. We're at her house. Now, I wanted to, like, I'm hanging out with my boy, it's all fun and stuff, and like, I don't know, I didn't want him to, I don't know why this happened. So the girl really wanted to hook up with me, right? And I, like, the whole mission of us going there was to drink a bunch of her beers for some reason. I don't know why. It doesn't make sense unless you're an alcoholic, which maybe I was. And so we go there, and I keep kind of distracting her while my buddy's grabbing some beers for us. And then, like, we're drinking them, like, kind of secretly. I don't even know how we were doing that. And anyways, by the end of the night, she has a very nice house and a movie theater room. And by the end of the night, I am, sitting on one of these reclining movie theater chairs, and she is on top of me. And we're making out or whatever. But I didn't, like, wanna, like, or no, I don't even know if we made out. But it was just like, it was so strange because it's like she was attractive too. Like, there was no, it just didn't make sense, It was almost as if my need for the alcohol overcame my desire to hook up with this chick. Because the whole thing, like, I wanted to get more beers, and it was just a really weird situation. Anyways, me and my buddy, we finally leave, and we're walking home, right? And as we're walking home, all of a sudden, we just see little lights come on, right? Cop lights, those po-po. And so all of a sudden, we're booking, and I mean booking, dude. And we cut through yards, and they have this light on their car that can shine through somehow. Dude, that thing could fucking shine through a brick wall and still reach the other side. It's insane. And so we're running, find a spot, hide, flash on us. Run, get up, run, blah, blah, blah. Same thing, right? All the way until finally we see him skirt around. I don't know what we did, but we waited for the cop to kind of quickly skirt and try to make it to the other side, like, to catch us before we switch sides or whatever. And so as soon as we see him do that, we start secretly, because we didn't want to see him. We didn't want him to see us in the rear view mirror. So we wait, and then as soon as he turns and we see him, like, flashing light through. We were close enough to the street now, to the point where we could book across into my neighborhood. And we did it. We made it. So thank God. But, it's weird because, like, in seventh grade, I was running around just smacking ass. That was my, like, I just wanted, I just want some pussy, man. And, then it's like a few years later, I have the chance to, hook up with this girl, and I don't. Instead, I'm stealing her booze. So it's just like, what the fuck, what is going on? So this is my advice to you. If you're ever in the situation where you have the opportunity to hook up with a nice girl, and you also have the option to steal all of her liquor instead, do the first option, okay? Because that will be much better. You'll feel better the next day. You'll feel better talking about it in the future. Because God knows, I'm talking about it right now, and I don't feel great about it. But it happened. And these kinds of things happen in life. And it's just what you got to learn. So, moral of the story, don't steal the girl's liquor. Hook up with her first, then steal it. All right. So, it's pretty cool how you can be like, oh, oh, would you look at that? It's Mr. Jiggy Wiggy. He might be popping up here soon. But yeah, it's very strange because when I was in Myrtle Beach in South Carolina for a family vacation when I was very young, um, I'm swimming. I'm swimming in the ocean or whatever. I like the pool, but the ocean's cool too. So I'm swimming in the ocean, right? And I always knew there was a reason I wouldn't like something. I just felt like something was gonna happen. And of course, all of a sudden, I just have this horrible pain coming from my wiener, my my phallic, and hello, and basically, I had gotten a bunch of little pebbles, a bunch of little rocks stuck into the skin, where like if I would have been circumcised or if I would have not been circumcised, it would have been like fine. But since I am circumcised, it leaves open that little area of sensitive skin. It's like a waistband, You could hide stuff in there if you want. And boy, did these little pebbles hide. They were hiding, and I'm in pain. I mean, I'm screaming. I'm like, because I was younger. And then, I tell my dad, I'm like, Dad, there's some rocks in my penis. There's some rocks in my penis. And he's like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Jigsaw, come on. There's some rocks in my penis. And then so we go to the bathroom. And I was so young at this time. Like, I didn't even know what the fuck was going on. And all I knew is that my wiener hurt very bad. And so he ends up, having to pick out the little pebbles from in there because I didn't even understand what was going on. And then, I was thinking about it. Imagine like some random dude like looking in the stall and then just seeing some little kid and then some older man just like, you know, he didn't know what we were doing. My father was helping me, but imagine not knowing that that's my father and, you know, just seeing some little boy with some man and the man is like picking at the little kid's penis. So, that's definitely something that you need to be aware of if your son ever gets rock stuck in his penis, or if you ever get rocks stuck in your penis and you need your father to get them out. Okay. But you know what? If you're having your father take out little pebbles, Jigsaw, get over here. Now, lay down. Good. So Yeah, so honestly, if I were you, I would try to avoid. I would try to avoid getting rocks in the penis. It's not fun, and it will cause you both physical and emotional pain. I did, however, I got my back sunburned on that trip, so I couldn't lay on my back. I couldn't lay on my front. The whole thing was just a mess. The whole thing was just a mess. Like this, like what's happening right now. This guy is exactly what I would equate it to. This guy, just a freaking mop. You know, I was always so jealous of those kids. Well, that's honestly a very that's up for debate because I don't know if I was jealous of them because without the mistakes that I've made in my life in terms of getting in trouble with the law, you know, um, getting in trouble with school, getting suspended from middle school, getting suspended from high school, all these things, right? And it's just like if those things wouldn't have happened, I always wonder, well, if they didn't happen, wouldn't I still think that whatever it was that I was doing in that, specific situation, since I got away with it once, don't I think I could, continue to get away with something like that? And it doesn't even have to be that specific thing. It can be, anything, kind of around like similar to that. So I'm not jealous of them. And to be honest, I pity them. I pity them. Um, because God knows that, you know, with the life that I know at least, if life is who I think it is, I believe that either they're going to get in severe trouble in the future or they're going to die. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know anyone doing any crazy shit like that will put them in a that situation. But it's weird to think because, you know, drinking alcohol, and I worry about this too for myself as well because and I'm sure a lot of, college students do or anyone that, tends to go out, hang out, drink. You know, imagine imagine this for a second. And this is sorry to get a little down in the Jrod pod, but I want to take you on a journey of a man or a woman who isn't prepared for the unexpected. Now, imagine, one day you're just sitting around doing whatever, and maybe it's already started, but you start feeling like just like a little stress, like right there, and you're just like, ouch, what the fuck? And then it stops. And you're like, okay, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Days go on. Next thing you know, you're by yourself, you're watching something, and you're sitting kind of weird. And so maybe you're putting pressure on that one point that hurt before. All of a sudden, ouch, ouch, ouch. And then that's where it starts. And it's so scary because anyone that is going like feeling that what I just described, and I don't even know if that is a symptom of whatever it is, that alcohol or drugs could do to someone, their insides, but imagine how scary that is. Imagine how fucking scary it is to start to realize, oh fuck, I have to go to the doctors to make sure that whatever this pain is temporary or can be fixed very easily. But, a lot of times and that's if you're lucky. If you're, like a lot of people, like most people who die from, you know, alcohol, if you're like most people that die from alcohol, then, it's like liver poisoning. It's just a very sad thing. I mean, I'm sure, sometime very soon we're gonna have the technology, the science to help people that are going through those kinds of things. But just imagine, just close your eyes and then imagine you wake up in the morning. You wake up. I'm doing it with you. All right, we'll do it together. Close your eyes. Take a nice deep breath. Now imagine. All right, you wake up. Uh, oh, what a wonderful day. Ow, 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 ow. What the fuck? Ow, ow. Ow, what the hell was that? You kind of like lift up your shirt, you go to look, you know, maybe hopefully you can see something, but you see nothing. A month goes by. Ow, 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 ow. You wake up again, same thing. You're like, what the fuck, man? And maybe you're thinking you slept on it weird. I wish that was the case, buddy. Next thing you know, you go to the doctors, and you got some big thing ahead of you in the future. Like you got to start preparing for this big presentation you got to do for work or something like that, or maybe you're going out on a date with this girl that you've been trying to get to go out with you for a long time. And then all of a sudden, this thing steps into your life. This, and I can't say, completely detached issue from you because everyone, if you get that, you brought it on to yourself. So, and I realize that that can sound very crude, or if that's the word, just not very empathetic, but it's the truth. And like I have a relative and he walks around with a cane, right? He's this big, very tall, um, pretty chub. I wouldn't say like super fat, but like a taller, thicker guy. And he's got this Mexican goatee thing going. He looks really cool. Um, but he has to use a cane now because he drank so much alcohol when he was younger that it fucked up something in his body to where he can't walk correctly. So it's, you got to be careful for those kinds of things. And I realize, guys, this is a very touchy subject for a lot of Jrod Podians and Jrod Pod and Jrod himself. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes it's best to face the things that scare you the most in life, and just really like, look at them, think about them, and just like, no matter how much fear or insecurity you're feeling in that moment when you're thinking about these, questions that are very deep and, not enough people are asking themselves, like, that's better than trying to just block it out altogether. So yeah, essentially, you're very lucky that you found Jrod Pod, but that's beside the point. As a side, is it beside or aside? That's beside the point. Okay, guys. Have you ever like gotten high, like smoked, like weed, not like anything else, just weed? Have you ever just smoked and you're with a girl, or vice versa, you're with a guy, and you are so high, say maybe you smoked a fat blunt that the girl rolled, and you're like, oh hell yeah, she can roll a blunt, and it's dank, hell yeah. And then you get so high, and everything's cool, everything's funny and shit, and then you go inside and blah blah blah. You guys put on a movie, whatever, but you're still super high, so your mind is like, it's a sativa, and you're tripping balls, and then she wants to go hook up. And so you start hooking up with her and stuff, but you're still so high that you can't get out of your own head. And you're just thinking about a bunch of shit while you're like, making out with her. And then next thing you know, like you're thinking of something funny. You start thinking of something funny. Like the worst thing that you can do is think of something bad, or like, like it's bad, but then when you tell your friends, it'll be funny. It'll be funny to tell them, but in that moment, it'll suck. Don't ever think of those things because they will happen. If you're very high and you're, in the act of doing whatever could be messed up in a second. So one day I'm with this girl and we're hooking up, and we're making out, and then all of a sudden I'm so high, I think of like how funny it'll be if, once like I was thinking of how funny it would be for me to tell my friend, if something fucked up happened. And then, because I was thinking about that, it's literally like what is that called? The law of the universe, essentially, the growth. What the fuck is that shit called? Law of attraction. It's basically like the law of attraction. Like, I was thinking, what if something fucked happened? And then I started to, I was thinking about how funny it would be. And then I think of my friend, and then I open my eyes, and I'm so high that when I open my eyes, I see my fucking friend as the girl. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Because I'm like, there's no, I have no problem with people that are into that, but that's not me. And so I tweak. I'm like, oh my gosh. And then, obviously they're going to ask some questions. And so, she's like, what happened? What's wrong? And I'm like, what am I going to say? Oh, I thought you were a dude for a second, and it tweaked me out. But we're all good. Come on, come back here. No. And trust me, I tried that. I was like, I'm just so high. Come on. And then she's like, what the fuck? The fuck? And I'm just like, well, do you want to like watch something then? I mean, like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. And that's something else. Don't apologize. Don't apologize. Because there's a lot of reasons that this could happen. It could be because you have a low libido. It could be, well, actually, in that specific circumstance, it's because you're too high. Okay, I can tell you that for a fact. It's because you're too high. In terms of like like whiskey dick. You can get whiskey dick and then not want to hook up with a girl anymore. Even if you want to hook up with that girl, if you have whiskey dick, it's just very hard. It's like you're almost desensitized. It's like if you watch too much porn. There are so many things that can go wrong with your dick. You could be, it can become desensitized from porn. It can become, just so used to you, like, obviously you're going to give yourself the best hand job. So, like, if you become used to that quality, that tier of an HJ, then it's, when a girl does it, it's just not going to be, I don't know, unless it's like very dirty. You know what I mean? Like, you guys are somewhere, like, her, maybe she works with you or something. You don't like, it's not like you guys have ever done anything, but then all of a sudden she grabs your wiener. Okay, that's different. Then it's like, okay, this is like a real life porno, but not actually, And yeah, man. So what I would say is don't think when you're hooking up with girls. Don't think about it. Just let it happen. Don't even like think. And the problem is if you also this is like another warning on top of that one, but if you're thinking about not thinking, then you will overthink. That's just what happens. So you just need to learn to let go. Let go of the thoughts in your mind, the anything. Just be in that moment. And it's so hard to live in that moment nowadays because, with, social media and just like the way jobs and careers are nowadays, it's like people are always trying to move forward or people are always stuck in the past. And, living in the present moment is actually very hard, but it's also like, well, there is no present without the past or the future, and there's no way to make a future without the past or the present. So it all intertwines. And I guess that's what comes down to time. Is time real? Who knows? But you know how to make the most of your time. So yeah, you should already know this, by the way. And that's what I'm talking about by the Jrod Pod just off on a ramble. I hope you guys learned some stuff though from that ramble, because this is important stuff. Dash Jrod. You know, and also, you're only gonna get in life what you're willing to work/ask for. Like, if you want to have a very, attractive, sexy, sensual woman, beautiful woman, then you're going to need to not be afraid to ask that woman for her number, or to even start talking to her. Because while you're thinking of, you know, being rejected by that woman, she's thinking, okay, I wonder, she's thinking about her work. She's thinking about, I mean, unless you're like fucking Channing Tatum or whatever, like trust me, she's not thinking about you the way you're thinking about her. Unless it's very evident. Like she's like looking at you, with those eyes, she's like, like that. And otherwise, man, you just gotta go up to her, you gotta grab your fucking nuts. Just fucking grab your nuts and just mosey on up to her, shoulders back, chin up, walk over. Hey, how you doing? Hi. Uh, Hi. Do I know you? No, you don't know me, but my name is blah blah blah. And I just saw you, and I just really wanted to come closer so I could smell you. Wow, you smell good. And then she's like, okay. And then you're like, what type of perfume is that? That's scent. And then she goes, okay, what the fuck? I'm about to get out of here. And now this is where you make it or you break it. This is where you have to either, advance or, retreat. And every time you make sure you advance. Okay. And, she starts to walk away. You're like, wait, where do you think you're going? You say something like that. Hey, where do you think you're going? And then she's like, my friends, they're over there. I just gotta go. We're going somewhere. And you're like, oh, where are you going? And then she's like, our friend's house. You're like, and, don't be afraid to be bold. Ask her, oh, who's your friend? And then she'll be like, I'm just assuming, like, she would respond with, it's kind of like a private thing, because at this point she's gonna have to, put her guards up. Fine, whatever. Then you go and say, oh, okay, I get it. I get it. She's like, oh, okay, all right, well, it was nice talking to you. You're like, yeah, it was nice talking to you right now too. I'll talk to you later, huh? And then she's kind of like, wait, what? I didn't give him my number or anything. And then, talk, talk, time goes on. Next day. Or no, later that night after she gets back from hanging out with her friends. Wait till she's home. Wait till everyone leaves. Don't be an idiot. Just don't be an idiot. Have some common courtesy. Once everyone leaves and it's just her at her house, that is when you, slip, slide, on up to that door or window. And, well, this is what I would suggest. You ring the doorbell, wait to make sure she answers it and only her. And then once she does that, when she peeps open the door, you hide somewhere so you can quickly just burst in, right? Make sure you have a weapon, not because you're going to hurt her, obviously, but just so you can have, just in case she has something to hurt you with, or, just because she's like scared, which is normal. I feel like when a very, what's the word? A very confident, very confident and just well adjusted to life kind of guy talks to a lady, she gets nervous. So that's the only reason she's nervous in this situation. So you bust through the door, you push her over, or not push her over, but you push her out of the way, and you're like, haha. You shut the door behind you, you lock it, and you look at her, and you just stare, and then grin, and then she has this, she's so overwhelmed by all these emotions of, sexual tension, fear, and happiness that, she's not going to know what to make of this, right? And then that's when you say, "Oh, baby, I've been waiting a long time for you." And then she goes, I'm guessing she would say something like, "Get out of my house or I'm going to call the police." Don't let that's a shit test. Don't let that derail you from, your whole objective from going there and, meeting her, really getting to know her. You're just like, "No, you're not. No, you're not." And then she'll be like, "Yes, I am." And you're like, "Oh, really?" And then you dangle out in front of you her phone on a little keychain thing. Ding. Really? With what? And you have the phone, right? And she doesn't have a home phone anymore because no one does. So that was her only chance. And then she tries to run, and you're like, "Gosh, damn it!" So you got to get her. You catch her. Um, you know, I don't condone hitting. So definitely don't hit her over the head to knock her out or anything. Just get her, just be like, "Relax, relax, relax," and then quickly tie her up. So then she, it's very surprising. And at this point, she's going to be like, "Oh my gosh." And this is the point where everything kind of starts to turn. This is where she sees you are a man of confidence. You are a man of vision, a man of creativity, but you're also sensitive. You're also an intellectual. And you're also just a man, you know? And then, you start asking her questions, "Oh, like, where'd you grow up? Where are you from? What are your parents' names? That's cool. Blah, blah, blah." You look them up real quick. You're like, "Oh, Beth and Stewart. Beth and Stewart Grays." Okay, so that's her name. And this girl's name is Amy Grays. Now, Amy Grays, she's attractive. She's smart. She's sensual. She she goes to the gym, which is always a plus, and yeah, and she's a little old fashioned, but yeah, so doing things like that, doing little things, just the little things like that, those are the difference between being truly getting to the heart of a woman and just plain old being a schmuck, so if you do those kinds of things, surprise, haha, maniacal laughter, all these kinds of things. And don't be afraid to be a little physical, Take a whip, take a rope, tie them up. Whatever, They love that shit. And let me know how it goes because yeah, and obviously email the jrodpod@gmail.com because I would love to hear about my jrodpodians, taking my advice and how it went. But if you're calling from a payphone at like Oakland County Prison or something, just honestly, just don't give me a call. You know what I'm saying? But for real. All right, you guys, this has been a wonderful Jrod Pod solo cast. And again, like and subscribe. And I'm so happy that, we have some fan episodes coming up, like, or not fan, like duo cast, me and then some other people. Some of the guests coming up are, Jrod Pod and Justin Donjo, aka Justin Don, Jrod Pod and Nick Tupin, aka Nick T, aka Nicky D, aka Nicky with the long D, and Tony Wells, aka Anthony Wells, aka Mr. Artist guy. Man, great guest coming up. and those we'll be posting twice a week. So be on the lookout. All right, thanks so much, guys, for listening, and I love you.